Hello and welcome back to the F1 Sim Racing World Championships 2023. I'm your host, Tom Deacon, and I welcome you here with open arms. I am so excited to get the season underway. Let me bring you up to speed. Last year, the man himself, Lucas Blakely, lifted the trophy and became world champion, and so did McLaren Shadow with the Team Constructors Championship. Fast forward a year, and look at this. We're back. Drivers are live in their rigs, all in one place. It's a brand new season. Who will be crowned champion this time round? Well, also, let me bring you up to speed because we've already had qualifying for the Bahrain Grand Prix, and currently on P1 is Thomas Ronhaar.
It's, the perfect start to the season, and, especially with Brendan, he was struggling quite a bit, so I have to, think about, what's going to happen in the race, but, to already get, my first points of the season, because obviously now we have, a point for pole position, so that's always a good start, and, the lap itself, it felt incredible. The pressure was really on into the last corner, getting a bit nervous, obviously, but that's normal, but, extremely happy with the pole position.
Well, you touched upon it. You've got the 1 point. You're currently leading the championship at the moment. We go into the race that's going to be tonight. What are you looking at going into there to make sure you take the big amount of points and also become the first event champion?
Yeah, I think obviously, look at last season, the start is crucial around there. Last year I was on the front row as well, but, dropped the P5 at the start. So anything can happen, just gotta, be my myself, stay focused, and let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens indeed. Look at it. Just take it all in. It's finally happening. And we welcome back to the desk, who wasn't here earlier on, the one and only OG of the F1 Sim Racing, as myself. We've been there from the start. Matt Gallagher, welcome back. Get your thoughts on what was incredible quali and to be back here again.
I mean, it feels good, doesn't it? Wow. I mean, what a setting that we have for this new season. Qualifying was amazing. It's obviously great to be here, to see the drivers in person, LAN, we see their emotions, we see them making mistakes, getting pole position like Ronhaar. So many stories starting to unfold already, and we haven't even had the first race.
I know, it is going to be epic. Steph Wentworth, it was a great quali. Any shock surprises for you? What stands out the most from today?
Do you know what? We had some incredible performances, particularly from rookie drivers that we had. Alfie Butcher in the Haas was fantastic. He was giving lap after lap, ended up P2, P3 on the grid. Fantastic opening stint for him.
Yeah, and the old guard, Danny Berezny on P2 is very exciting. Let's have a look at that starting grid. And this is where these positions are turned into points as we go racing. We are moments away from that. So yeah, not the start that Simon Weigang would have wanted. He finished 4th last year in 2022. Wilson Hughes, the teammate of Lucas Blakely, down in 19th. Fabrizio Donoso in 18th. Ismail Fassi, another rookie, doing as well as he can to start with. And Tom Manley, Josh Edo, that's exactly the same position he starts on the grid from last year as well. And then we get into the top 10, and Jarno Opmeer down in 10th. Jed Norgrove, another rookie, Freddie Rasmussen in 7th. And then you have in 6th place, Ruben Pedreno, another rookie. So the rookies are coming in, Matt, fearlessly, and especially as we get up to the front row.
They certainly are. I wasn't expecting them to come out as quickly out the blocks as they have. Alfie Butcher was 16 years old. I was going to say a man of steel. It's 16,
boy, a teenager.
It's so impressive from him. In Q2, he just did one run, trying to save as many sets of tyres as he possibly could, and that is. To have that mentality so early on is really promising for him, not just for this season, but the many seasons that he will take part in as well. And of course, the man of the moment, Thomas Ronhaar. He's had plenty of criticism over the last year or so, and to stick it on pole in LAN was a big statement from him.
Yeah, that criticism was definitely not deserved, and I'm glad that he gets to show the world and the racing community. Steph, I'm going to come to you in a second, and Matt, because I feel like we should get some drivers out here, and we're in front of a live audience here at the DreamHack Winter here in Jönköping in Sweden, and I know they're going to get very noisy as we start to welcome out the teams. We will start with Aston Martin, Aramco Cognizant Esports team. We have Simon Weigang and Fabrizio Donoso. So Matt, they come with a lot of experience. Simon Weigand 39 starts and 35 for Fabrizio Donoso. They've got the potential to put points on the board.
They do. They know how to score points. They know how to score podiums. Donoso, way back in 2017, fought for the championship. These drivers have caps to their name, but they need to deliver straight out the blocks.
Okay, let's welcome out our second team. It's MoneyGram Haas, F1 Team Esports Team. And representing them, we have Alfie Butcher and Ulash Ozildirim. Two rookie drivers, Steph, but we've already seen what Alfie can do, but Ulash is a very talented land driver.
Yeah, we know that Haas like to take the risks, bringing on the rookies. They clearly both have a lot of pace, deserving of these seats. It's going to be very interesting to see how they can turn their qualifying into a race, and hopefully they can have some success.
Yes. Okay, let's move on. Alfa Romeo F1 Team, Kick Esports Team. And here they are. The man on P1, Thomas Ronha, and a former two-time world champion, Brendan Lee. So there we go. Matt, he finished third in the Drivers' Championship last year, Thomas Ronha. He is gunning for Lucas Blakely, isn't he?
Yeah, what a lineup. What a lineup those two are. And a little kiss to the camera from Brendan. I'm sure a lot of people are blushing at home.
Oh, hello. Now, another member of the team, you saw him earlier on, is Hayden Gullis, and he's down by the drivers now.
I am indeed. I'm joined by world champion Brendan Lee. Now, Brendan, you're one of the old boys on this grid now, you know, with so much inexperience here. How vital is the experience to you, especially in an event where we're live?
I mean, the experience is vital, but I'm putting in my contract for next year. I get the walking stick and the chair to go to my rig, seeing as you're calling me the old boy. But no, the experience is vital. Thomas is a young gun. We all know how fast he is, especially after qualifying, proving a lot of people how talented he really is, and I'm really happy to see that. And you know, sharing that experience is vital to me. Makes me feel happy, fulfilled that the lessons I learned early in my career can be passed on.
P15 on the grid today, a lot to be done. What are you going to do to put yourself in the points?
As always, just full send it and go into turn one, hopefully coming out P1.
There we go. Can we see what Brendan Lee can do? Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much. You mentioned it to me earlier, Steph. If you want to go faster, eat more pasta. That is a classic quote from Brendan Lee. Let's welcome out the fourth team. It's Williams Esports Team. The two Spanish drivers starting our first race, Alvaro Carreton and Ismael Fassi. Now, Steph, Alvaro Carreton is the experienced driver, 53 starts in F1 sim racing.
Yeah, very experienced. And another driver of Williams, Marcel Kiefer, not mentioned there, but combined, these guys actually have the most amount of starts of all our teams here.
Ooh, they're wearing that badge with honor. Let's welcome them out, the team in red. Scuderia Ferrari Esports Team, Nicolas Longue and Barry Boromont. 3 wins last year for Nicolas Longue, 313 points in total in his F1 career sim racing. Is this the year for Nicolas Longue, Matt?
It could be the year for Ferrari. They've got a lightning quick duo there, and they're going to have to see if they can deliver under the lights.
And they had the least amount to walk. And so does the next team, Mercedes-AMG Petronas Esports Team, Jarno Otmir, former 2-time world champion, and Danny Berezhny. A combined amount of points, 1,053 points between those two. And I'd say they're probably the two tallest drivers on the grid, Steph.
I definitely think they are extremely tall. Don't let me stand next to them. Another very experienced lineup here. Previously paired together at Alfa Romeo and now at Mercedes-AMG.
And now let's add the lookalike, Hayden Gullis and Danny Berezhny, in the same place at the same time.
Yes, indeed. I'm joined by another champion, Jarno Otmir. Jarno, you had such a strong season in 2020 and 2021. 22 didn't go the way you would have liked it, but we've got new physics on this game. What's different about it, and how's that going to help you?
Yeah, this year I think the race is very, very different. Last year, I think if you started in the mid-pack, it was very hard to get to the front. This year it seems to be a little bit easier. We've seen in league racing people start pretty much last and still being able to win the race. Might be a little bit harder in esports because everyone is prepared better. But we'll have to wait and see. Depends a lot on how much carnage there's going to be, how much battling. But yeah, I'm very excited. So.
You're starting the race in P10. As you say, in league races before, you've been able to build yourself up through the grid and get into those solid positions. Can you work your way from 10th today to fight for the win?
Yeah, due to grid penalties, I've moved up to P8, so that's definitely going to help. I think the furthest away someone has won Bahrain is P5. It is going to be difficult. It's not an easy track to overtake. In F1 Esports, simply because of the DRS trains. We're running on the hardest compound, so we're not going to have a lot of tire delta, but we're going to have to wait and see, because last year it was a lot of carnage. Might be again the same this year. So.
Well, wishing you the best of luck. Maybe even a little giveaway of strategy there. Back to you, Tom.
Oh, we love that when there's a few giveaways. Thank you very much, Hayden. Right, we move on. Let's welcome out the next team, Alpine Esports team, made up of the Spanish driver, Ruben Pedreño, and the Hungarian driver, Patrick Sipos. So, Matt, a rookie who is currently up there in P6. Fantastic start to the season.
Yeah, and a lot of talk about Alfie Butcher, but Pedreño needs to be spoken about as well. A great position to score some points in round one, which is so important to settle the nerves.
A former team that have won the Drivers' Constructors' Championship, the Team Constructors' Championship. It's Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing Team, made up of Freddie Rasmussen and Josh Edo. Steph, you have got there a potential world champion in Freddie Rasmussen. What do you like about this team?
Well, the last 4 seasons, Freddie has finished as the runner-up in the championship. Josh Edo also promoted from AlphaTauri, a strong pairing.
Scuderia, AlphaTauri, all on esports are your next team. And here they come. A complete driver rookie lineup tonight. Jed Norgrove and Tom Manley. Both pro exhibition finalists. Now is the opportunity to show what they can do in F1's esports. Matt, Tom Manley missing out on Q3. However, Jed Norgrove managed to get there.
Exactly. Again, the rookie's shining, and we might well see a changing of the guard by the end of this season. But yeah, impressive performances from the pair of them.
And Joni Tormala, an OG in the sim racing game, is on the bench on the side, helping them through. Let's welcome out the last team and the current reigning champion. It's McLaren Shadow, it's Lucas Blakely and Wilson Hughes. And I'm sure if they could fly the Scottish flag, these two Scots would be doing it, Steph.
The Scots are taking over in Papaya Orange, I'll tell you that. We've got a master there in Lucas Blakely and a student there in Wilson Hughes. Let's see what they can do.
Out of all the merch that you've seen walk past, what would you say, Matt? What's the best merch? Who's got the best merch this year?
Oh, come on. You can't put me on the spot. Now 9 teams are going to hate me.
No,
McLaren Shadow.
It's got a live reaction. So there you have it. All to do for Wilson Hughes, but such a tough and brilliant bunch of guys. Lucas Blakely has got Hayden Gullis next to him. Good luck.
The reigning world champion, Lucas Blakely, you've got the biggest target on your back today. How does that feel?
I mean, it can't be a bad thing. I mean, at the end of the day, you're here to go racing. Can't wait to get going. New season, new opportunities, and yeah, it's going to be exciting. I think we're in for it's going to be a good race. I have a feeling.
We've got a long season ahead of us still, but can you do it? Can you make it too?
That's the plan. That's it. That's why I practice. That's why we put in the work. That's what we're aiming for, and yeah, that's what I'm gonna put everything into.
He's feeling good, Tom. Let's get into some racing.
Thank you very much, Hayden. We will do, but we need to get the drivers into their sim rigs. And to do that, we have recorded this. Now, we asked all of the drivers to get us into their world, see what it's like, their routine and their daily lives. So we got them to get their phones and to make this filming. And here's the thing, right? We've just heard from Lucas Blakely, but let's see what happens behind the scenes.
Lucas Blakely, take a bow, your champion of 2022 for the first time ever.
I used to do go-karting from 2010 to 2015. Like thousands of many other people wanted to become a Formula 1 driver. I did that for as long as I could, and my family supported me massively. Until 2015, where I had to stop, as it was it's an incredibly expensive sport, as everyone knows. Once F1 Esports came along in 2017 for the first time, that was sort of the realisation moment where I thought, maybe I can do racing, but just in a way that was a little bit different. So in 2018, I qualified for the Pro Draft in F1 Esports for the first time. Didn't get picked that year, but then dedicated everything for the next 12 months, basically, and then became an F1 Esports driver in 2019, and that's what I've been ever since.
What an absolutely incredible season he has put together.
It seems like he's really dealing with the pressure.
So this here is my home Simberg setup. This is Monaco.
Hello.
Day to day, I'm basically here, if that makes sense. This is really where I spend most of my time. A lot of work goes in behind the scenes that people don't always see, so it's something that you need to put a lot of time into. We have unlimited practice, which means you need to be so perfect.
We're on board with Lucas Blakely, who's got to be careful here.
So that's why, on a daily basis, you'll find me sitting right there pretty much the whole time.
Where are you going?
So my family have been a massive influence. Even once I switched from karting to sim racing, they've always supported me and always tried to give me the best.
Mum, Dad, Zach, I love you. I know you're watching. This is our championship.
So without them, I would not be where I am at all today. To retain the title this year will take, just as much effort and probably even more, but it's something that, it's all worth it when you win. So we're going to give it everything to, bring home the best results we can. So let's go.
There you go. I love that. It's just great insight that you don't often get from the drivers. So we've got more drivers who have taken their mobile phone to film something, and it just goes to show. It talks through that struggle. 2018 didn't get selected in the pro draft. Went away. He was sort of thwarted in that pursuit of what he wanted. He went away, worked harder, smarter, and that perseverance relentlessly has got him to be a world champion. It just goes to show, Steph, it can happen to any of these drivers.
Absolutely. And do you know what? It was quite emotional, actually, watching his journey throughout his whole career and to where he's got now. I think it's just amazing to see, as you can see him behind. It's fantastic, this setup for us, isn't it, with this giant screen behind us. But no, I think it's amazing to see the journey that all of these drivers take, and who knows who it could be next. Blakely's going to be hoping it's him, but so are all of these drivers.
Yeah, and you've got 19 other drivers gunning for him now. What sort of feelings is Lucas going to have coming into 2023?
Well, look, I feel like we've been putting a bit of pressure on him. Target on your back, this, that, and the other. He's got a world championship now. He's going to now try and get another one. He's done it. He knows how to do it. He's shown that he has the mettle. He can now try and defend that. And of course, all the other drivers are in this room, which is going to be slightly different.
Yeah. Who stands out for you as being a real contender this season based on one qualifying session?
Yeah, well, lots of form book to go by. But no,
Is it going to be another former reigning champion like a Liano Watmir, maybe even a Brendan Lee stepping up, or maybe David Sinitsa cannot be a part of this because he's not competing this year?
No, he's not. Well, for me, when I look at the stats, I just think, how on earth has Freddie Rasmussen not won a Drivers' World title? So for me, I'm so interested to see, does he finish second again? I hope not for his sake, but the stats speak for themselves. He is an incredibly accomplished driver. To be so consistent over this many years, surely one day, 1 year, it'll be his.
I want to talk about that a little bit more, but right now I want to put Jarno Watmir, Lucas Blakely, and Freddie Rasmussen in one room together and see what happens.
Going into this season, I think the goal is naturally to try and defend our World Championships as best as we can. It was hard fought last year, really, really challenging on the team, on myself, trying to make sure that we got everything right. But I think that we learned a lot of really good things last year.
The end goal is winning for sure. I don't really care about if we finish P2 or P6 otherwise. The question is, are you still good enough? And as I think Michael said, you're only as good as your last race. It's a new challenge every single time.
We had a couple of blunders last year. I had some blunders as well, so that's probably what made the difference.
It's been 4 seasons where you came second. What's been the difference between you and that one driver that just...
Luck. Last year was firstly a privileged experience, last year being my first year with McLaren Shadow, and I'm just super excited to be able to
begin my second year with them and be able to represent them in a live stage as well. It's something that I'm very, very proud of. Honestly, I want to make sure that we're staying hungry, no matter how good or bad things look. We need to still have the same level of drive to improve.
There's so much more to it than just being good at time trial. Both of the years I won the championship, I wasn't the fastest as well, probably. Every year you see a lot of young guys be really fast, but it's really hard to stay at the top 5, top 10 level for multiple years.
Yeah, I definitely still have the drive. For as long as I'm here, I'm going to be trying to win.
I love the fighting talk there. It's brilliant to see. They're all hungry, these drivers. We are just a few moments away from going racing for the first time in 2023. So let's fill that time before we can go racing by talking about, I guess, a head-to-head between Lucas Blakely, your reigning champion, and Freddie Rasmussen. We talked about it. Freddie Rasmussen has got the most accrued points in sim racing in the F1 world. So why is there no title, and how do you compare the two?
Honestly, the stats really speak for themselves. He's at the top in almost every metric that you measure. We're talking about wins, podiums, poles, etc., etc. But he doesn't have the one thing that Lucas Blakely does have. He doesn't have that world championship to his name, and that's the only thing that's lacking in his impressive list of accolades.
I'm going to be unserious for a second. Maybe it's the cat, maybe it's Monaco that is the difference. Let's step away from that and go serious again.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay, Matt, he did say it was luck. And earlier on, Hayden said it comes down to you make your own luck. Do you think luck's the only thing that's holding Freddie back?
Of course, there is some lucky moments for sure. There are some moments where Freddie Rasmussen's actually stepped aside to let his teammate race for him over the seasons gone by, which has then affected his Drivers' Championship bid. So I think there's a few different factors. I don't think we can even deny how much talent this Freddie Rasmussen has. Again, he's looking really good coming into this season, 7th on the grid. I was a little bit surprised to not see him a little bit further up. He's ice cold, but yeah, he's going to be one to watch for sure. Again.
Yes, he is. So what does Thomas Ronha have to do? He's in P1 at the moment.
Stay there.
Stay there. Okay, good. That's covered that then. That's brilliant. Okay. But it's so good to have someone as experienced as Brendan Lee next to him, who has won a world title. That will hopefully help Thomas. Anytime he's just off the pace or struggling a little bit, he can turn to Brendan. That's a great teammate.
Yeah, but I think it works the other way as well. When somebody's working well in the team and the other one struggling a little bit more, like we did see with Brendan qualifying down in P15, he can maybe ask Ronha, say, oh, Tom, what's going on? What's set up? What can I change? How can I gain a little bit of extra pace where you can? So it works both ways, the experience goes both ways, and I think they can both help each other out.
I want to talk Williams for a second. The only reason why is because they finished bottom in the Constructors' Championship, Matt, and Alvaro Carreton has got to Q3. That seemed to be the thing that was holding them back last year. This could be a more exciting season for Williams because they've already got to Q3.
Yep, it was a good start. We've got plenty of races to go, plenty of qualifying sessions, but Alvaro, he's been a driver that has shown some sensational pace at just moments in time, but it's not been consistent. And that's something that he's going to want to improve on over the course of this season, is being able to deliver time after time. And it's so difficult when the margins are so small in qualifying, a couple of tenths and you're out in Q1. That's the mental approach. That's the mental advantage that the top dogs have in this series.
Well, we've spoken a lot, but what do you guys think? Head across to our socials at F1 Esports. Let us know who you think is going to be taking the victory tonight. In the meantime, though, we need to get a race underway. But before that, we were all tasked with the job of picking our top 5 drivers. I would like to now see Matt. Now, Matt, you were given this task. Which are your top 5 drivers coming into 2023?
Well, you're about to see, I think, because there you go. So Blakely, of course, I think for me was the favourite. I've, of course, picked Jarno Opmeer because I think you'd be silly not to. Thomas Ronha, I'm going to be showing off that one because he's on pole position. Freddie Rasmussen, of course, as I've just mentioned. And Josh Edu. I think he's a bit of a dark horse for this series. I think he'll genuinely be able to perform at a level. He was so so impressive at AlphaTauri, and that's why he's got the step up to Red Bull. I think we joked last season about, will he be knocking on the door of Red Bull? Yes, he will, because he's now there. But yeah, it's a very strong 5, and I'm sorry to the other 15 that are awkwardly sat behind me that I haven't chosen, so maybe I can edit it halfway through the season.
I tried to get out of it, to be honest. I wouldn't email my answers. Steph, the only difference in your 5 compared to Matt's is Josh Edo. You had Barry Boromond. Thoughts on why you didn't go with Josh, or why you went with Barry instead?
Well, neither seemed to be ideal picks considering they were both knocked out in Q2, so not a great start to the season. I'm curious, Matt, why is Freddie all the way down in P4? I mean, we know from historical run that he should be in P2, no?
Interesting. I love how you're coming back to mine now. Well, look, it's just 5. I don't necessarily gone from 1 to 5. They're just my top 5.
I see.
There you go. And then I can get out of it.
You've done that excellently. Now, you did choose 2 Oracle Red Bull esports drivers, and I believe Hayden is with Dirk Chocolate. What's he doing here?
I know, right? There's so many fans here, and I've managed to find content creator Dirk Chocolate. Now, Dirk, look at how stunning this stage is. What do you make of it?
Amazing layout, amazing stage, production's amazing as well. I'm just really glad to be here and supporting the team as well. I'm excited to see the race as well.
Myself, and I think everyone at home, is dying to know, who are you supporting whilst you're here? I mean, it's not really anything we can go on.
Yeah, well, of course, I'm here with Oracle Red Bull Sim Racing, and with the team, I'm hoping to see Freddie and Josh absolutely smash it. It's just going to be an exciting race. It's starting a little bit further from where we wanted to start, but hopefully we'll get that podium.
Other than Red Bull obviously taking a 1-2, what else would you love to see from the first race?
I have a lot of friends that are racing today. I want to see the rookies do bits today, and I just want to see as much as I want to see. I also see some great racing. I want to see some wheel-to-wheel action today.
Well, thank you very much, Dirk. Did you hear that, Tom? Flexing about all the friends he's got. How many friends do you have?
Not as many as Dirk Chocolate, but actually Dirk Chocolate is an absolute legend. I was at Silverstone this year, got me into the hospitality of Red Bull. He just shouted my name, Tom, and he got me in. What a legend.
So that's why he's on the show?
That's why he's on, yeah, I
Okay.
sorted him out.
Yeah.
I could do my little bit for him. So right, let's talk about this. Who's taking the full 25 points and potentially the fastest lap as well? Matt, I'm going to put you on a spot before we go racing.
Wow.
Or you can answer, what do you like about...
I like a story, Tom.
Okay.
Alfie Butcher, on debut, takes the win. Come on.
All right, well, guys, Steph, I'll leave it with you. And Matt, let's start that race.
Okay, right. So, Steph, let's look towards this first event, the first race, Bahrain. What have we got in store?
Well, it's a fantastic opener, isn't it? It's a fantastic season opener. 15 corners, 5.4 kilometers. And yeah, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. 29 laps to see who's going to come out on top.
We had an amazing qualifying, lots of rookies performing to a level of which I think we were all quite surprised, Alfie Butcher being one of them. I think when you look back to last year, Alfie Butcher may well have looked at how Ron Haar was and went, okay, let's not get involved in any silly incidents, let's get a lot of points on the board, because it's quite clear, Alfie has the pace, and that's the big box ticked at the top, right? That's what you need. Then it's being able to deliver, being able to know when to make those moves. Do you think he's ready?
Well, 16 years of age, you'd say no. I mean, what were you doing when you were 16?
Not this.
Not this, indeed. No, so he's got a lot to prove. Aggression is key in F1 esports because the gaps are so marginal, but it's being aggressive at the right time. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out over the 29 laps, whether he starts off trying to get his foot in the door.
Here we go then, the 5 red lights. The F1 Sim Racing World Championship is underway. Ron Haar on pole position ahead of Danny Berezny, going defensive already. Is Ron Haar down towards turn 1 as the cars feed through? Is there any contact? Lucas Blakely in the mix there as well. There's a few cars in the background getting mixed up there, but it's Ron Haar who leads away from Danny Berezny. Alfie Butcher in third, looking very close behind the Mercedes, but it is all lying astern at the moment. In the background, a few more. Jarno Otmir in P8. He started P8, as he said in the interview earlier, gaining a few positions after the grid penalties. Reasonably calm and collected, Steph.
Everybody seems through unscathed for now, which is a box ticked for the beginning of this race. And there you go. I think we had a little bit of a lock-up there from Jarno Otmir as he's trying to get past Alvaro Caraton there, but there's a bit of squirreliness going around with them as we head into that turn 10. Oh, such a difficult corner and a couple of tyre lock-ups there.
Okay, so halfway through the first lap, it is Thomas Ronhaar leading the way from Danny Beresne and Alfie Butcher. Nicholas Longay in P4, Lucas Blakely, the reigning champion, in 5th position. We're taking a look at Jarno Opmeer, who's gained 1 position at the start, known for his better race pace than quali pace. So let's see, does it equate to F1 23? We'll have to wait and see. As you can see there, by the way, the tyre graphic, around 2/3 of the field on the soft tyres. We've got a few hard tyres, Barry Burman being the highest runner there. He'll be trying to cling on in these early stages where the soft tyres will be working beautifully.
Yes, but as you can see, Thomas Ronhaar there setting the fastest lap out in front, looking calm, cool and collected. In a few laps, DRS will be enabled.
That's a move from Lucas Blakely into turn 1, I think, and Nicholas Longay, are they going to get through? Okay, I think Nicholas Longay just about holding on there. Lucas going for an audacious move. Let's see now, no DRS of course, we're on lap 2, and Lucas Blakely trying to make a move. Went for it. That was aggressive from the reigning world champion, kind of telling us exactly how he's going to take this series. It's not a target on his back, it's a target for everyone else.
Absolutely, he's moving through the field, as you can see, looking at Nicholas Longay, who has made up a place, started in P5. Lucas then dropped down a place in the opening laps, but as you can see, super close between the two of them. DRS will be enabled on the next lap, and as we know, Bahrain, 3 DRS zones, hugely important for that overtaking when it comes to the hard braking zones of turn 1 and turn 4. Really important places that you can try and sneak past, so that will be what the drivers are waiting for.
So there you go, there is the positions gained and lost at the start. Ismail Fassi with 5 gained and is into the top 10 in the Williams. Both drivers in the top 10, Caraton in P8 and Fassi, the rookie, up 5. Forget nerves, forget the lights, forget the cameras. Fassi was going for moves at the start of this one. Here's Lucas Blakely round the final corner, and we're about to go on to the all-important lap 3 where DRS starts to be enabled. Tom Manley has got a penalty already for multiple warnings. I wonder what's gone on there. That can't just be track limits, surely, as Alfie Butcher, also a rookie, and we keep saying he's 16 years old, but that is a story in itself. Currently running in a podium position, and this is where we start to see, will the drivers be a little bit calm and collected when it comes to overtaking, or will Danny Beresne, Alfie Butcher look to try and dispatch of Thomas Ronhaar, who is currently leading this train?
Yes, leading the train, but as you can see, it's uber close between the 3 of them right there, the 5 of them at the front even. Alfie Butcher doing a fantastic job, clinging right to the back of Danny Beresne there. We know a very experienced driver, just waiting for his time to pounce. We've spoken about Thomas Ronhaar and his eagerness and how it bit him in the back last year. So just biding their time, waiting for the moment. It's a long race. We're on lap 3 of 29 laps. Anything could happen.
If you're new to F1 sim racing, firstly, welcome. And secondly, this is normal, okay? We've got the top 18 all within DRS of each other. Plenty of strategy is going to be at play in this season. I think Jarno Opmeer said quite interestingly before the race that he thinks it's a little bit easier to overtake and to make moves from the mid-pack towards the front. So let's see if he can do that from currently P7, running on the soft tyres, as is most of the front 11. In fact, Freddie Rasmussen, worth mentioning, down to 11th, hasn't made any positions up at the beginning of this one. As we now head on to lap 4, and does Danny Beresne fancy a little move down the inside? It doesn't seem at the moment. They're all just in battery conservation mode, so they all have battery to play with, which they can deploy whenever they want, whether that's for attack or defense. And we tend to see in these early phases of the race, Steph, that they're just in a bit of conservation mode. They want to keep that battery for when they get into that pit window.
Exactly, it's all about conserving that energy. The energy recovery system, super useful when it comes to making overtakes, when it comes to being in that battle. Also very useful when it comes to defending, riding on board at the moment with Nicholas Longay. Look at him right on the back of Alfie Butcher. That rookie, he has an experienced driver in front of him, an experienced driver behind him. He's doing his best to just keep them as it is and waiting for his moment to pounce and get even further. As you can see, the drivers just having a little look out on the line. Alfie Butcher to the left there, seeing if he can dive up the inside, but not quite close enough, not just yet anyway.
Not worth the move at the moment for Alfie Butcher, who is riding in a very, very solid P3. Nicholas Longay, one of the favourites, I'd have to say, in some ways. I know I didn't put him in my top 5, but he himself was saying he was incredibly confident coming into this new season and currently running P4. That is a very strong result if he can stay there. And we now take a look at Thomas Ronhard, the rear wing of the Alfa Romeo, and very strong exit of that final corner. Has a whopping half a second, which doesn't seem like much, but I promise you, that is a lot in F1 sim racing. Does Danny Berezny have a little look? No, they're all just in conservation mode at the moment. Worth mentioning Jed Norgrove having a very good debut as well in P6. Not a lot of movement at the moment. The pit window will open at around lap 8. Lap 10 is usually seen as the best time for the softs to be got rid of and the hards to be put on, as I believe we've got some damage. So there's a couple of drivers you'll see at the bottom there, Wilson Hughes and Fabrizio Donoso. My wonderful assistant Hayden has come and let me know that both had damage, Hughes and Donoso, after a lap 1 crash. So unfortunate for both of them. Of course, they were running towards the back anyway, and they're now running on the medium compound tyre.
Yeah, they'll be hoping to extend that now a little bit further on. Both of them, I believe, started on the hard tyre, so have gone hard to medium right now. We'll have to see how this plays out in the strategy. You never know what could happen in F1 esports. It's always quick, but as you can see, the times are so close together. Thomas Ronhart at a slight disadvantage. He might be running in the clean air ahead, but everybody else behind him within DRS of the car in front. That's why these drivers, these cars are so close together at the moment, Matt.
Yeah, the really important time will be when that pit window opens. Which driver in that mid-pack? I'm thinking Otmir, Caraton, Pedreno, those kind of drivers. When will they go for an aggressive strategy and try and make them their way up the field? But then again, I say that, Jarno Otmir is more seen to do overcuts and might go a little bit longer, as we now have a fight for the lead, as Danny Berezny decides, I want that P1, going round the outside, late on the brakes, and that is, oh, contact! That's contact, that's Nicolas Longuet, round and into the back. And there you can see front wing gone for Nicolas Longuet. We were just saying how confident he was feeling coming into this series, and he has lost his front wing. That is going to be curtains for the rest of his race.
Oh, what a shame for him. That's absolutely put his race into a spin, as we saw. I hope we can get a replay of that, of what went on down there. But Danny Berezny has taken the lead of this race in amongst all the kerfuffle. He was ahead of Thomas Ronhart, and there you can see the three of them, Alfie Butcher, Thomas Ronhart, Danny Berezny, running ahead of the crowd, and Jed Norgrove, in amongst all that mess, is managed to get up to P4.
Has indeed, as we can now take a look at Ronhart, who of course got out of that pretty unscathed, I think. Still running in P2, still very much in with a shout of winning this. Nicolas Longuet, I'm sure we will speak to him after the race. That was, well, just laid on the brakes, locked up, and then he's pretty much a passenger in that Ferrari. So a really, really disappointing result for him. Let's see if he can continue in this race. I know he'll try his best, but with the loss of downforce that he will have with that front wing gone, yet he's already down to 10th. So I imagine he might be coming into the pits to go for an early pit stop. We'll have to wait and see, as there is Alvaro Caraton, who's now promoted himself up to P6. The Williams team are doing a great job. But let's take a look at the front again. Thomas Ronhart in the slipstream, now out of the slipstream, DRS wide open. Ronhart takes the lead back from Danny Berezny.
And as you can see, Alfie Butcher was just having a little look. He pulled out to the right, seeing if he can take the inside line. Not quite there, but he is all over the back of him, just biding his time. And Danny Berezny, we can see, we're riding on board with him. Thomas Ronhart is ahead of him in the DRS zone, going to turn 4. He gets ever so close, but just not close enough. Oh, but there you go. You can see the Alfa Romeo driver runs a little bit wide there, just on the exit.
So Nicolas Longuet, as you can see on there, P9 at the moment, still running within this DRS train, but I wonder how much pace he is losing in the corners. Of course, the DRS will help him try and stay in this pack, but unfortunately for him, he's got his teammate behind. I imagine there might be a team order or two, as those hard tyres will start to go into a better working window than the soft tyres of his teammate. Lap 7 of 29, and Thomas Ronhart really making a statement in F1 Sim Racing 2023, taking pole position, losing the lead, getting it back. And there has to be a word as well for Danny Berezny, who was struggling so much last year. Couldn't get a feel of the car, wasn't able to utilise that performance that we know he has in qualifying. But to do it so early on in this season is an incredibly it's really promising for Danny Berezny.
Absolutely, and I do think it's worth pointing out that Danny Berezny does thrive in the LAN environment. He's very used to it. Back in F1 Esports of 2018, 2019, when all of these drivers were in one room, and is that Alfie Butcher just looking up the inside? Not quite able to make a move just yet. But back to Danny Berezny. No, he does thrive in these sorts of environments, and I do think part of that...
That's a move. That's a move. Oh, my goodness me. That's Manley, who has a penalty and has just sent one up the inside. I'm not sure if there's a bit of carbon fibre going around there as well, but that was an incredibly aggressive move from Tom Manley, who is carrying that 3-second time penalty at the moment. Of course, if there's any dispute, they'll take it to the stewards and there'll be a conversation there. But that was for 14th place. But Manley really trying to make up some moves, knowing that there is going to be a disadvantage to his race time. Looking back towards the front now, Alfie Butcher still running in a very solid P3 at the moment, as we have now entered the pit window. This is where we could see some early moves from some of the drivers. Caraton and Fassi, both Williams drivers, 6th and 7th at the moment. What a great result that would be in the first race of the season, but can they make it better? Fassi was so quick in practice. He was almost going to be one of my wildcard picks, and he's now performing despite having such a difficult qualifying.
Well, yeah, he's really moving up the field and proving that he does have some real pace there. We are inside the pit window. It's going to be very interesting. Just going into turn 1 there, we saw multiple lockups. We know it is a very tricky corner, but the tyres will be starting to wear down. There's quite a drop-off at 25%, and we're well past that for the soft tyres now. So for the undercut, it would be very strong, very powerful right now if they wanted to go for it. And there you can see Alfie Butcher actually defending from another rookie in the Alpha Tauri, Jed Norgrove behind him, just defending on that straight there. Excellent from both drivers.
So one thing we should note is Lucas Blakely is 18th and has made a pit stop. Hayden, have you got some more information for us?
Yeah, I've been down with the team managers, spoke to them about what has happened. A driver moving under braking in front of Lucas Blakely, caught him off guard and unfortunately has broken his front wing, which means an early pit stop and potentially committing now to a 2-stop strategy. Is it over for the first round for Lucas Blakely? We're going to have to wait and see. There's still a long race left to go.
Well, he's just set the fastest lap of the race as Lucas Blakely, and you'd imagine a 2-stop strategy will pretty much be the end of any chance of points. So we'll have to wait and see what they try and do in that McLaren Shadow team. But a difficult start for Lucas Blakely, as I imagine if he probably got stuck in with that Nicolas Longuet incident. But Lucas, unfortunately for him, it's not going to be too happy. And well, 18th at the moment, 19 seconds off the back of the field. It's
23 seconds lost in the pit lane.
That's exactly what I was trying to find, Steph. Thank you very much. 23 seconds. So he is still in the mix. It just depends whether or not he can take those tyres all the way to the end of the race. And if we can see the tyre allocation, it'd be great to find out what Lucas Blakely is currently running. And then we can sort of start to make some educated guesses.
Just looking over, actually, it looks like he's on the red-marked soft tyres, which is an interesting choice, Matt.
Well, that's the beauty. That's the beauty in LAN events. You can just have a look, can't you? So Lucas Blakely is pushing as Alfie Butcher, as we can see there, still trying to negotiate his way through not only the 2 cars ahead of him, but also the massive pack behind him as well. It is constantly chopping and changing, but it's worth mentioning Jarno Otmir is currently in 5th place now, slowly and surely making his way through this pack, as he said he could do, and that's correct. Yep, Lucas Blakely on the soft tyres, so a definite 2-stop strategy.
Yeah, and interestingly, Nicolas Longuet as well, just jumping into the pits there. Maybe Hayden can give us some information on what the issues there, whether he had any damage as a result of that contact as we're riding on board with Jarno Otmir. He's got Jed Norgrove in his sights. He is getting ever so close as we head into that difficult, tricky corner there. He's making up all the moves. He's recovering that energy, 97% energy recovery. So he is ready to make some moves. He is ready to start overtaking.
Look at the intensity in Jarno Otmir's face. It's so great to have that live here in this studio. It is amazing to have F1 Sim Racing as a LAN event once again, and to have all of these drivers working incredibly hard to try and make a name of themselves. We're on lap 10 of 29, and it is still Thomas Ronhaar leading the way. ahead of Danny Berezne, who's having a very strong performance at the moment, and Alfie Butcher. I wonder if there's seeing that Nicholas Longe incident, whether they even want to make these risks. And we have Jed Norgrove coming into the pits, as well as Jarno Otmir and Alvaro Caraton. So they're the first to blink of the front pairing as the top three continue on. Ismail Fassi now goes up to 4th, but won't have DRS to Alfie Butcher ahead. How strong is this undercut going to be? Could we see a new race leader?
Oh, potentially we could. This undercut is very, very strong around here. You can gain around 2 seconds of time pitting the undercut in this game due to the soft tyre drop-off. So it'll be very interesting to see where these drivers come out. As you mentioned, it's probably going to be a one-stop race due to that large amount of time you can lose in the pit lane. And that is Jed Norgrove there, who's out with Jarno Otmir right behind him, looking to make a move on the AlphaTauri driver. They're out of the pit lane, but not quite close enough. And as you can see, Lucas Blakely just a little bit further up in front.
Interestingly then, Lucas Blakely is ahead of this, of Norgrove and Otmir, which will be very interesting to see how that one unfolds. But they haven't come out in clear air, these two drivers, and well, they're still going to be pushing on. They're going to have Lucas Blakely on very fast soft tyres, so they may well still jump the front three. This is a crucial lap to make their way through the pack, as you can see that Jarno Otmir has almost an entire battery's worth to deploy, and he deploys it now down the straight. I wonder if we'll see a few drivers at the front of the pack coming into the pits now to cover off this undercut, because Jarno Otmir is pushing on a lot here with Norgrove, Blakely, and Nicholas Longe actually is ahead of the whole lot of them, despite the damage, and we now have a lot of pitters coming in now.
Yeah, they're all jumping into the pits, and there we go. It's Barry Burmond who's leading the race at this point in that Ferrari. Started way down outside of the top 10, but leads the race currently. Now, all of these front runners who are now pitting, where are they going to come out? Because it's 23 seconds that we're waiting, and we're riding on board with Jarno Otmir. He looks like he's going to try and make an overtake on Jed Norgrove, but not quite.
Oh, they're all coming out the pits now. Thomas Ronhaar is on the pit exit. This is going to get really tight into turn 1, and it's actually going to be Lucas Blakely that comes out ahead of the lot of them. Nicholas Longe just ahead. Thomas Ronhaar's off the road, fighting Jed Norgrove. It's all changed. The undercut, that one lap fresher tyres on the mediums for Otmir and Norgrove, they've got right involved here.
Wow, they're totally in the mix now with everything. As you can see, Jarno Otmir lost out a little bit. Thomas Ronhaar there ahead of him, and they all got caught up in the mix of those who were leaving the pit lane. And there's the move on Jarno Otmir on Thomas Ronhaar. He goes still up the inside and makes that move stick, but Ronhaar's going to have the inside line going into the next corner, and they go too wide headed into turn 10.
Oh,
and they're so close between the two of them. Is there contact there? Ronhaar's going to have the inside line going into the next corner. Both foot to the floor. Ronhaar's going to make the overtake stick. He's going to stay in front going into that swift left-hander, but woof, it's close between the two of them. I don't think this battle is over yet, Matt.
That was millimetres away, a bit of contact as well, and these two have a bit of history, and Ronhaar comes out in front of Jarno Otmir. But right now, Nicholas Longe is leading this train despite having that damage at the beginning. Lucas Blakely is behind. Then you've got Norgrove, Ronhaar, Otmir and Caraton, and then you've got Burman, Rasmussen, Ido doing a completely different strategy, carrying on a lot longer into this race. Just look at the amount of cars on that straight. That is F1 sim racing at its finest. I think there was a move there as well. Jed Norgrove has actually just got ahead of Blakely and Longe into turn 1, and Norgrove is now becoming the net race leader as a rookie.
As a rookie, the net race leader of this race, as we ride on board with Jarno Otmir, getting closer to Lucas Blakely, and you can see the net race leader ahead. Got Nicholas Longe behind him, Thomas Ronhaar, Lucas Blakely, a whole host of champions riding on board behind him. We're seeing an overtake from Jarno Otmir. He dives up the inside of Lucas Blakely, and he makes that overtake stick, and there's a Williams getting involved there. That's Alvaro Caraton, who's also getting into the mix, hoping to capitalise on Lucas Blakely's little bit of a tyre lock up there, and there you can see Jarno Otmir got past the current reigning world champion Lucas Blakely, and you can see him in his rear mirrors.
Yeah, so Blakely's a bit of a sitting duck now, unfortunately for him. He's getting swallowed up after being on those soft tyres earlier on in the race. So he's not really in this fight at the moment. Jarno Otmir certainly is. He's got Thomas Ronhaar and Nicholas Longe ahead of him. But Norgrove, out of nowhere, has managed to make that undercut work. And you can see Ronhaar just in front of us there, having a little look on Longe, deciding better of it. Of course, Longuet has older medium tyres at the moment, and Ronha now, with the slipstream, with a bit of DRS and energy to boot, is going to try and clear not one, but maybe the pair of them. Here comes Ronha on the inside with 3 wide going into turn 1. Who is going to come out on top of this one? Is it going to be Ronha with the inside line? It is. What a move from Ronha, who retakes the lead again.
What a fantastic move from him. 3 wide down the main straight there and got Nicholas Longuet and Jed Norgrove all in one move. And there, Jed Norgrove has lost out a little bit. He's lost that place as well. Currently was in the net lead, but lost out now is in net P3 and is going to be looking to get past Nicholas Longuet.
So I'm really keen to get Hayden Gullis's thoughts on this as well, as it is all kicking off in the first race of the season.
Oh, this is what we love about F1 sim racing. The strategies are so important this season. If you pit early, you're getting about 2 seconds of lap time, especially if you're on the soft tyres. Unfortunately for Lucas Blakely, it looks like he's utilised all of that freshness of the soft. They got over the 25% of the wear, and unfortunately they're starting to drop off. He's going to have to pit soon, maybe to a set of mediums taken to the end, but then he's going to be the quickest driver on track. And if he can get himself into that top 10, he can maybe not only get points, but the fastest lap as well.
Did you really see Hayden? Could you see a 2-stop for Lucas working in this environment? Oh, here we go. Actually, we've got Lucas Blakely being overtaken by Ismail Fassi. So right now, it's not working. Is it going to work?
It's not impossible. I think there is potentially a chance, especially as the tyres on this year's game are so important when they're fresh. You're gaining so much lap time, 2 seconds per lap, but as you have said earlier, there is 23 seconds lost in the pit lane. Can you make that up with just over 10 laps to go? It's going to be difficult.
It's going to be a mountain of a task for Lucas Blakely, but you know he will try until the very last lap. He is getting, as I said, swallowed up by the field at the moment. The soft tyres not working at all, and it is a painful watch if you're a McLaren Shadow fan at the moment, as Lucas Blakely continues to fall further and further back. With 14 laps to go, Lucas Blakely, yeah, he's going to have, he's just even let the move happen really then. Down to 16th goes the reigning world champion. He'll look to bounce back in the next race. But if we look further forward, we have Thomas Ronha in the net race lead. We've had a few pit stops. Freddie Rasmussen, Josh Edu have both come into the pits. They're going to look to be very quick now in this final stage of the race and try and thrust themselves into the points. As we have just passed half race distance. We've still got Barry Burman and Tom Manley out there having not stopped. As we now ride on board with Lucas Blakely once again. Soft tyres, struggling. This is not going to be an easy watch.
No, it's going to be a tough one for the reigning world champion to deal with. On that, Freddie Rasmussen and Josh Edo, they are on that alternative strategy, and they've jumped onto the medium tyres, so they will have fresh tyres towards the end. Maybe that's what Blakely needs to do. I think he needs to jump into the pit lane. We're going to see him get into the pits now. Yes, he is. He dives into the pit lane. Whether he'll go onto medium tyres, I reckon he probably will. Take him to the end of the race. He does seem like he's got a lot of pace, so whether or not that'll be able to take him...
Side by side, that's Norgrove and Otmir into turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? Oh, Otmir's gone off the road. Norgrove didn't give him any space either. They're both going to have DRS now down this straight. Who is going to have... Well, the inside line's going to be Otmir, but Norgrove is so late on the brakes there and manages to stay ahead of the world champion Jarno Otmir. Norgrove, as a rookie, does not care about the experience around him and maintains 6th place now, but that's a net 3rd place.
And Alvaro Caraton getting all up in the mix there. I thought he was going to be able to capitalise and move another place forward during that battle between Jed Norgrove and Jarno Otmir there. But he's in a bit of a Mercedes sandwich. He's got Otmir ahead, Beresne behind. He's looking to attack and also defend as we ride on board with Jarno Otmir. As he's going up through the gears, he's going to want to make this move stick on Jed Norgrove, but he is defending for his life. A fantastic job from him in his opening round in the F1 Sim Racing World Championship.
48, well, make that 49 race starts for Jarno Otmir now. 636 points to his name, 11 wins. Norgrove, first race. It's not quite fair when you look at the statistics, but Norgrove is holding his own very nicely in that AlphaTauri at the moment. Longuet is starting to struggle. Now, this is a really important point in the race because Ronha is clearing away from this chasing pack due to Nicholas Longuet's slightly ailing tyres. Norgrove's going to have to clear the Ferrari very quickly. He goes to the inside line. Can he spot his braking zone? He can indeed. Get straight to the apex. That is Norgrove back ahead. Otmir tries to slide through as well. Longue says absolutely not. Crucially, Ronha now 1.7 seconds clear and is now romping away with this victory as Longue tries to come back, decides against it, and Otmir starts to look at where is Longue struggling. Is it under traction? Can I try and get him out of that downhill double left-hander? We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, he's really eyeing him up, and this is what's so crucial about this part. He's not wanting to go too soon. He's figuring out the best way to make this move stick. As you can see behind, Alvaro Carreton making a move there, that he's involved in something with Dani Berezne. The both of them getting involved with things, as we can see multiple lockups there. The Ferrari of Nicolas Longue going side to side with Jarno Otmir. Is he going to try and head up the inside? I don't think he's quite there yet, but Longue is going to be wary of the two-time world champion that's currently all over the back of him in his mirrors.
We haven't spoken much about Alfie Butcher, who, of course, started in 3rd place and seems to have been... Oh, there's a bit of contact in the background there between Carreton and Berezne. Carreton's gone off the track there as we now ride on board with Dani Berezne, and he's getting overtaken by Alfie Butcher, who now promotes himself up to P7. That will soon become a few more places when we finally get all of our stops out the way. But Butcher now is looking at Alvaro Carreton as well. They're both going to have DRS. One of them's going to have Slipstream. That's going to be the Williams driver. You can see Alfie just struggling for that top speed. Otmir's going defensive a little bit further ahead as well. Round the outside goes Dani Berezne. There is action every single place you look, and thankfully they're all facing the right way. Alfie Butcher now back down to 8th as Dani Berezne fights tooth and nail to keep that position.
But these two are going wheel to wheel all over the place. As you can see, we're riding with Jarno there. You can see Alvaro... Oh, we're riding with Dani Berezne. Alvaro Carreton ahead of him, but he's going to be wanting to keep the rookie Alfie Butcher behind, but they're so close, just 1/10 of a second behind. Butcher is all over the back of Dani Berezne. The battle here, up and down, is all fantastic. So close to each other.
If you wanted action, F1 Sim Racing is the place to find it. 11 laps to go, and they continue to fight lap after lap. But you know who that's helping? Thomas Ronha. 2.4 seconds clear of Jed Norgrove. It is going to be an almighty fight for 2nd position. But right now, Ronha has it signed, sealed, delivered if he can keep it on the black stuff for the next 11 laps.
Yes, and this is helping him to non-stop. The fact that there are battles up and down the grid behind him. Nicolas Longue clearly starting to struggle on those tyres, but Jarno Otmir looking to make a move again, stepping out of the slipstream, just seeing if it's possible. Not quite possible here on this lap. I think Jarno is struggling to make this move stick on Nicolas Longue there. As you can see, Simon Weigang, the last of the drivers not to have pitted, is heading into the pits now. As we can see, battles 3 wide going into the corner there. It's all happening up and down the grid map.
Contact! Oh, what's gone on there? There's a lot of front wing damage there as there was a car slow into turn 1. Nicolas Longue there, looked like he was at the head of the field. We'll have to maybe see what went on there and maybe speak to Hayden, who I can see is running around trying to figure out what just went on. But Jarno Otmir is up to 4th. Dani Berezne's now passed Alfie Butcher for P6, but it was all kicking off. Ronha still in the lead. Norgrove 2nd, Longue 3rd. Not much actually changed considering the amount of contact we just saw.
It was all happening up and down there. I think Dani Berezne and Alvaro Carreton both involved in that issue. As you can see, I believe that's Alvaro Carreton behind Dani Berezne trying to make the move stick, but the Mercedes duo are back together. All behind him, it's all happening. You've got Alfie Butcher in the mix as well, all within DRS zone of each other. And all in a train right now, trying to see where the move can stick, but it's really difficult to make these overtakes happen when everybody does have that DRS.
Hayden, I've got to come over to you now. What did you make of that turn 1 incident that just happened?
Yeah, it looks like too many cars trying to get aggressive, and this is what you're going to get with the different strategies. Cars and drivers who have much fresher tyres. Speaking of Alfie Butcher, Dani Berezne, they've gone a little bit later in the race, so they're really trying to overtake that pack that's maybe hurting slightly for going earlier and getting track position. And unfortunately, they all came together, and there's a few damage out on track, which I'm trying to figure out who it was for.
Okay, I'm sure you'll come and nudge me if you find out who's got that damage, as Freddie Rasmussen now starts to make his way through after pitting very late into this race. He's now got a couple of points to his name and is starting to look like he could even be with a shout of this P2 battle, because this train is the entirety of it. Freddie Rasmussen to the inside of Ruben Pedreno, now up to 8th position, and Freddie very quietly going about his way. A very accomplished driver, as we spoke about before the race. and he's in this fight.
And as you can see, Alvaro Carreton jumping all the way down there. He was in that battle for P2. He was right up in there. And something must have happened. Hayden, I wonder if we can go down to Williams and see what's gone on there. It looks like he might have been involved in that contact there. As you can see, we've got so many tyre lockups here. The tyres starting to drop off a little bit as we come towards the end of their wear.
You can only look at the cars everywhere. Freddie Rasmussen now up the inside of Ismail Fassi. He is making moves in that Oracle Red Bull Racing car up to 7th. And you just see all of the cars there, Steph. It is frantic action. You have got 2nd all the way down to P12, still within DRS. Thomas Ronhaar continues to lead the way and looks like he has got this locked in. But it is an almighty fight for 2nd place, and it is anyone's guess as to who is going to come out on top on this one.
I mean, Jed Norgrove is doing a fantastic job at the front of that train at the minute. He's staying calm, cool and collected. No worries about what's going on behind him as we're riding on board with Freddie Rasmussen. And that is a move on Alfie Butcher up the inside towards turn 1 there.
Oh, Alfie's hanging around the outside,
He's around the outside. And it seems as though he's maintained that position. He's still in front of Freddie Rasmussen. But this battle is not over yet. We're heading down towards turn 4. It is a battle for the both of them. Freddie up the inside into that braking zone, and it seems as though he's got that move down, stuck this time ahead of Alfie Butcher.
Freddie making moves. Alvaro Carreton has come into the pits with damage, unfortunately. That is heartbreak for the Williams team, but they've still got their hopes with Fassi, who's running in P8. But right now, the focus is on Freddie Rasmussen, 6th at the moment. He has got much fresher tyres than the cars around him, and he is dispatching them one after the other, lap after lap. And Freddie Rasmussen showing exactly why he is the statistical GOAT when it comes to everything barring championships. When you look at this F1 sim racing, the years that it's had. And there is Freddie, as you can see. Not the most expressive of drivers, it has to be said. But I imagine we might get a few words out of him if he manages to salvage a P2 here.
Oh yeah, I'm sure he'd be pretty happy with that. As you can see, we're riding on board with him now. Up through the gears, he's looking to pick off his next attacker, which is the Mercedes drivers ahead. You've got Danny Brezne and Jarno Opmeer ahead of them. As we head onto the main straight, it looks like he's going to start picking them off. Oh, but Danny Brezne goes to the right in a defensive move. Is Freddie Rasmussen going to go round the outside into turn 1? Is he going to make that move stick? He does do it, but Danny Brezne comes back at him. He's not quite ready to
they're
give up
fighting all
that
the way around. Longay and Opmeer were fighting into turn 1, and you had Rasmussen and Berezne. Rasmussen has cleared the Mercedes driver of Danny Berezne, but there's more action ahead as well, as Longay and Opmeer were going wheel to wheel. Longay starting to struggle more and more on those tyres. Opmeer really fancies his chances of making his way onto the podium in this first race of the season. Will he look to the inside? He decides against it. There's still 7 laps to go, but he doesn't know whether to look forward or in his mirrors, because Freddie Rasmussen is coming.
Oh, you've got to be worried when you can see Freddie Rasmussen behind you. Nicholas Longay doing a great job of defending, considering his tyres have been so much older than those of the tyres, than those of the drivers around him. Definitely going to look like Opmeer is going to stick out a little bit, but again, not close enough. He keeps jutting out the slipstream, trying to decipher whether a move is possible, but deciding against it. He's very tactical in making those overtakes stick, Jarno Opmeer, and that's what's led him to 2 world championships.
Okay, let's take a deep breath. 7 laps to go. And it has been frantic action all the way. And is Opmeer about to make me turn up my intonation again? No, not just yet as we go into the final corner, but I imagine he might well try a move into turn 1. Norgrove looks like he's got a reasonable exit, but Opmeer is right in the diffuser of the Ferrari. He pulls to the inside line. Jarno Opmeer, will he try and get the pair of them? Yes, he will. Norgrove has no DRS to defend, and Opmeer has gone from 4th all the way up to 2nd. If he can spot his braking zone, that is a beautiful move from Jarno Opmeer. And what about Jed Norgrove? Will he try and get Longay on the way up here? Freddie Rasmussen in the background as well. It is pass or be passed in this first race of the season here in Bahrain, and it is Opmeer up to 2nd.
Oh, and it's so unfortunate. Jed Norgrove lost out as Jarno Opmeer was just heading past Longay there, and he's trying to spot Nicholas Longay, see whether he can get past, back up into a podium position. It's all to play for. He's riding on the back of that Ferrari, just looking for the position where he can re-overtake him. He's just conserving a little bit of energy, about 35% energy he's got. It'll be interesting to see in the next couple of laps if he moves past him.
So Nicholas Longo, when we rode on board with him a moment ago, had almost an entire battery's worth to use. So he's been very tactical in the way he's tried and stayed in this train, because he did pit early after having a little bit of damage. I imagine he didn't even change the front wing if he was able to stay in this fight, but clearly not enough damage to harm him and to harm his chances. And he shut me up from earlier when I said it was all curtains for him, and he's right in the fight here for P2 still within DRS of Jarno Opmeer, who is 3.9 seconds behind Thomas Ronhaar, who is dominating the first race of the season. But it is all to play for the 18 points that second place brings, and there's more DRS, there's more pulling out of the slipstream. Jed Norgrove, a little bit too far back, I'd say, to try and make a move. Freddie Rasmussen, interestingly, has sort of his progress has halted in P5. Perhaps his tyres have started to hit the cliff slightly in terms of that real big, you can just see there, the very quick flick through of the HUD, and I believe he has gone over that 25% golden mark of that extra pace. And I want to go to Hayden. Hayden, what have you seen with only 5 laps to go?
I've been walking around and I've been noticing that the engines are running hot for the drivers all in this train at the moment, and that is why you spoke about it on the start-finish straight. He wasn't looking for a move, he was just pulling out the slipstream to get some clean air and cool down his engine, because that is going to hurt your straight line speed, and obviously straight line speed around here is crucial.
Thank you very much, Hayden. As it gets all very close in this downhill double left-hander, one of the trickiest sections on the track to spot your braking zone and to bleed off the brakes in the right way. We're riding on board with another rookie, Ruben Pedreno, who I imagine will be quite disappointed at this stage of the race, considering made it into Q3, was looking like a potential point-scoring opportunity in this first race, but running in 12th has Josh Ido, who has fresher tyres than himself, running in P11. His teammate, Freddie Rasmussen, has made a lot more progress than Josh Ido has, and they've both been on very similar strategies.
Yeah, but we are coming towards the end of this race, you know, lap 25 of lap 29. We've seen it before with F1 sim races. Towards the end of the race, it gets very hot when we're looking for moves, and it doesn't seem like there's a move happening out there. Again, Hayden mentioned that
it's going to be 3 wide into turn 1, and Barry Burman has made a couple of positions up. Freddie Rasmussen has also gone up to 4th place, and all of a sudden, they're starting to make even more positions up. And Freddie Rasmussen, Barry Burman now on the inside of Jed Norgrove. Where's Barry come from, who now tries to take P5 away from the AlphaTauri, makes a beautiful move, and that is a great result for Ferrari now. 3rd and 5th. How much further can they make?
Well, they're going to be pushing even further. Freddie Rasmussen and Barry Burman were both on that same strategy, starting on the hard tyres and moving on to the mediums later. So we'll have similar sort of tyre wear going in there. But it will be very interesting to see how much further Barry Burman can move forward as we are riding with Jed Norgrove there. You can see the Ferrari ahead of him. He's just losing a couple of places as his tyres start to drop off against the newer, fresher tyres of the Scarlet Red Ferrari. But it's all to play for still. Jed Norgrove hanging onto the back of him, still within DRS. Will he be able to move forward? It seems as though those tyres might have dropped off too much, but he's still in the fight with this train right now.
Certainly is. Barry Burman coming through the field. Danny Beresne starting to lose positions. 7th at the moment, Alfie Butcher in 8th. But still, these are the moments for Norgrove and Butcher where a few points is great. You know, don't be too disheartened by the fact you're not running in 3rd or 2nd or a net race lead like Norgrove was earlier. Just try and secure as many points as you can, because they will add up to the end tally at the end of the season. As we head into turn 1 once again. And, I was going to say not much chaos, but no, we've got another side-by-side. Tom Manley trying to get past Alfie Butcher. There's more wheel banging the right rear to the front left of Tom Manley, who, of course, is still carrying that penalty. But that is not stopping him trying to make progress, because I imagine he'll be hoping to get that penalty removed somehow. But good luck with that one, is all I'll say. But Tom Manley's still trying to make positions up, and 9th position is something that he can be very proud of at the moment.
Yes, in 8th, 9th and 10th, we have 3 rookies running at the minute, which is great for their opening stint, and also Jed Norgrove running up in P6 there. Great job for all these drivers on their opening campaign. As you can see, we're starting to see quite a lot of tyre lockups. The cars, the drivers, the tyres getting a little bit tired. They're being put under much stress as we head down this circuit. We're almost to the end of the race. The tyres will be screaming. They'll be saying, give up, I've had enough. But You've got 3 laps remaining. We've still got to keep pushing on as we ride in on board here. This is Barry Burman. He sees Freddie Rasmussen ahead of him. He keeps pushing forward. He's got about 22% energy at the minute as he keeps snaking ever so close to the Red Bull, who is actually trapped in between the 2 scarlet red Ferraris there. You can see Nicholas Longay ahead of him. Freddie Rasmussen jots out to the inside, maybe to cool down his engine, maybe to see if a move is possible there on Nicholas Longay. And Longay moves out to defend just towards the right, and Freddie Rasmussen is not able to get past as we go into that first turn there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was a defensive move or an offensive move because Jarno Otmar was very close, and that's a bit more contact as well between Manley and Butcher. But can Manley get through? We've got a fight again between Otmar, Longay and Rasmussen. Otmar just about managing to stay ahead. I'm surprised that Nicholas Longay is able to hold on to his Ferrari for as long as he has, because he pitted very early for those tyres, but it's still performing at a great level here, and they are fighting so hard for these final couple of podium positions. Freddie Rasmussen, as we know, as we've seen so many times over the years, just waits until the last few laps and then pounces. You can see his battery's got enough to attack with these last few laps remaining. He's not deploying just yet. He knows that this isn't really an overtaken opportunity, but when he does go for it, I'd imagine he's not just going to go for Longay, he'll go for Otmar as well. We've seen it a few times this race already, where the driver at the back of a 3-car train is able to take the pair of them.
Yeah, it would be great if he could jump them both. That would be the ideal scenario for Freddie Rasmussen. And we have seen, as you mentioned earlier on, that it is possible in this race. When you're trying to defend against 2 drivers coming out behind you, it can be a little bit difficult. But Freddie Rasmussen, as you can see, just waiting for that moment where he could pounce. We're getting towards the end of this race. Thomas Ronhaar has just started the penultimate lap of this race, lap 28 of lap 29. There are only a couple of laps remaining in this opening race in 2023. But it seems as though we've got some moves going on a bit further down. Alfie Butcher and Tom Manley going wheel to wheel with one another.
They can't be separated, these two. They're still fighting, and Fassi, currently running in 10th, gets a great run. DRS wide open up the inside of Alfie Butcher, who now drops to 10th if this move is made on the inside. But Alfie, so confident on the brakes, tries to hang it all the way round the outside. He's still there, but just loses that position. Fassi up to 9th place. Manley, of course, carrying that penalty still, so this is still worth a couple of points here, and they continue to fight. There's a bit more contact. Josh Edu hitting the back of the Haas, and it is all carrying on till the very last corner in this race, the penultimate lap of the Bahrain Grand Prix, and they are trying to make up every position they can.
They are, and as you can see, Freddie Rasmussen, again, just looking up the inside, whether he can make a move stick. I'm not sure if it's possible that he will be able to do this. Nicholas Longay is working extremely well as a defensive mechanism to keep that Red Bull behind him. And look, it's working out for him so far. We're on lap 28, and he's still there despite his older tyres. As we can see, that is Alfie Butcher there, who's running in P10, the last of the points-paying positions. He's got Josh Edo behind him, who is on those fresher medium tyres, pitted late, went on the hard to medium alternate strategy to Alfie Butcher, who started on the softs. And it's looking like Josh Edo is looking to make a move stick on the Haas driver.
Last lap of this F1 Sim Racing World Championship Event 1. We've got more moves into turn 1. It's Fassi versus Manley, and there's a more contact in the background as well. Ido, Pedreno and Chipos all fighting for potentially the final points-paying position once Manley's penalty is applied. Ronhaar is clear out in front, but it is all to play for behind. Otmar still managing to stay ahead of Longay, and he's keeping Rasmussen at bay in P4 at the moment. Oh, they're side by side. In the background there is Edu and Pedreno, which could be, as I say, for that final points-paying position. Brendan Lee, the 2-time champion, in the mix of things as well. Pedreno pushes Edu wide a little bit. They're wheel banging once again. We're heading towards the double left-hander. Can Josh Edu get ahead of Pedreno? It's so close. That's millimetres away from Brendan Lee's front wing. They're all flashing with that red light on the back, which means they have pretty much used all of their energy deployment. But I think we need to go towards the front of the field, because there's been one man and one man only who has dominated the first event here for the F1 Sim Racing World Championship. He's been critiqued. He's been sent many messages over the last year, and this is how he responds. Thomas Ronha wins the first race of the season. He wins the Bahrain Grand Prix. What a result for Thomas Ronha. In second position, Jarno Otmir finishes. Nicholas Longe in third, who just stays ahead of Freddie Rasmussen. Barry Burman in P5. Danny Beresne gets Norgrove on the line to finish 6th. It's Fassi, Butcher and Ido the top 10. And I need to take a lie down, Steph.
Oh, that was some incredible race. You know, it started off a little bit slow. Everyone just taking their time. And it all commenced at the end, didn't it? It really started kicking off. Thomas Ronha, that is your race winner. He just gave us a little shh moment. Silenced all the haters. He does his talking on the track, doesn't he?
He certainly does, and we don't tend to see those kind of performances in F1 sim racing. It's usually down to the last lap, oh, we've got another fight for the win. No, he clears off by 6 seconds. When you think of all the preparation that all of these drivers have done, to do it here, a LAN event, the lights, the cameras, everybody watching, what a performance from Thomas Ronha.
Absolutely. You know, you can't fault him. He did it absolutely spectacularly and did really benefit, actually, from the fact that these drivers are so close, because there was a train of, 6, 7, 8 drivers behind him that were all in the fight. And I think that is what really allowed him to get away, because all those drivers were scrapping it out, which was brilliant for us to see.
Oh, it absolutely was. Do you know what I need now, Steph?
A lie down?
That.
A beverage?
And also Mr. Thomas Deacon, because we need to talk about what just went on, and I think my voice needs a lie down as well.
You've said it several times, and I was there hovering around like I'm going to jump in and help out my teammates. Well, what a race that was, wherever you're watching it around the world, or maybe here live at DreamHack in Jönköping, Sweden. Pass or be passed. That was the quote of the race for me. It was just had a bit of everything. And as you can see around us, drivers very jubilant, or some really, really disappointed with their performance. And Hayden is somewhere around this. I can actually probably find him. He's somewhere. Yes, I found him. He's over in the Alfa Romeo camp.
Of course I am. I am with the race winner, Thomas. How are you feeling? An incredible drive.
I'm lost for words, to be honest. To win by this margin in such a competitive grid is, it still needs to sink in a little bit, but extremely happy.
And we saw the reaction from you. We saw the gesture to the camera. What was that about?
I don't think there's words needed for that. For the people who doubt in me, thank you for making me stronger to, think about who I actually am. And that's what I did today to, be a dominated driver and win the race.
And what a way to do it. We've seen race wins in F1 sim racing where it's by a few thousandths, few hundredths, few tenths of a second. 6 seconds, you beat the rest of the field. What a gauntlet to put down.
Like I said, it's still I'm still lost of words, and to win by this margin, the only thing I can say is it's just unbelievable.
Tom, what a result that was. Back to you.
It was incredible, and you may have heard a giggle, and that was me just giggling at the excitement. Thomas Ronha getting to pretty much shut down any comment. I was just like, oh, it got spicy.
I was about to make a noise as well. And I'm glad that you did first, because your noise came through, but that was a cold response from Thomas.
And a very granted one. I mean, what he's had to go through, a young driver, was dominant last year, had the speed. We said at times maybe not quite the racecraft amongst other great drivers. Comes back this year, and he's set down.
He was shushing you.
Hang on a minute, I'll have a word. But no, he can shush me after a performance like that. What does it mean when he's saying he win by this margin? Why is that so spectacular, Steph?
Do you know what, honestly, in F1 esports, it's unheard of to win by such a margin. As we could see, the gaps were so close, everyone within DRS range of each other towards the end of the race. So for somebody to kind of go out and create that kind of margin, we don't usually see it. They're all usually within DRS range, especially towards the end of the race. We can get quite a lot of last lap battles. And that's not what we saw here, not at the front of the grid anyway.
And Jarno tried his best, coming from P10 to get that P2. A fantastic drive from him. Who else stood out for you in that performance today? And there's commiserations, which we'll get to in a moment, for obviously our reigning champion. It just didn't go the way he would have wanted. But who stood out for you other than Thomas Ronha?
Well, I think the rookies held their own. Of course, they lost a little bit of time, or positions such as Butcher, for example, Pedreno as well, but they didn't lose their heads, which is the most important thing. So they're getting that experience on the big stage. I'd say Barry Burman great result for him, fighting back through the field and scoring some big points for the Ferrari team. And Longuet as well, he was involved in an incident and still managed to stay right at the front, which I am very impressed by.
That was the Nicolas Longuet. Was it Alfie Butcher that he was caught up with, or was it a Lucas Blakey? Because there was at one point people are saying, what's happened? Where's Lucas Blakey? He's pitting, and then he gets to lap 12. I mean, I'm waiting for that move that Lucas made in lap 14, which was incredible. It stuck. He made it stick. And then Rasmussen pits. What did you make of his performance? Started off in P7 today, pitting in P15 with that strategy.
Yeah, well, definitely went for a more of an alternate strategy in extending his first stint and then jumping onto the medium tyres. It meant that he had a lot fresher tyres towards the end of the race when some of the other medium tyres were maybe starting to drop off, and I think that that's what allowed him to have such a smooth run through a large portion of that DRS train, you know, including all of the rookies. He had the tyres to back it up.
Matt, we obviously always talk about racecraft, but you had to have composure in this one because at times it was chaotic.
Yeah, you're telling me. Yeah, I think we still at the end had P2 down to P16 in DRS of each other, which is ridiculous. And that's what we're kind of used to seeing. And then that's why Ron Haar's performance is even more impressive. But yes, it was very much a case of pass or be passed. And there was so many moments where drivers could lose front wings. Some did. And you just had to be so aware of everything around you. Because as much as you want to move forward, you're looking for the next move of whoever's ahead of you. You've also got potentially 4 cars coming in DRS and slipstream using their battery coming down towards turn 1. The awareness you need is crazy.
So many times going into turn 1. I was just like, what on earth is happening? But that's what I love about it. I want to get Lucas Blakely's thoughts. He's with Hayden right now.
Yeah, I'm joined now with the reigning world champion, Lucas. Lucas, it wasn't the race that you wanted to start your campaign. Tell me your thoughts about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. Just first of all, sorry to the team because obviously leaving the first round empty-handed wasn't what we hoped for. But yeah, obviously I think with the incident, I'll obviously need to watch it back. But from my recollection and from what I've heard from my engineers, I went for the inside because on the outside everyone was braking really early and I also had a bit more downforce, so I wanted to use the clean space in the inside and then under braking the car ahead. Moved after the braking had already started, and it's reactive defending. I can't move out the way, so just really unfortunate. Not what obviously any of us would have wanted. But obviously in the moment it sucks right now. But the season's long. It's only one race. We just need to leave here, take the positives. We know the speed was good, but obviously I think today was a great example of it's not just you don't just need speed to win in F1 sim racing. You need everything to be on point, the strategy, the racecraft. You need absolutely everything to fall in your place. But yeah, obviously sorry to the team in this moment. But yeah, we'll have to fight another day.
We were having a little chat before Tom threw down to us about the race looking really exciting, and probably one of the most exciting F1 sim racing races we've seen. Obviously, it sucks for you not to be in that, but are you excited to get in those fights later on in the season?
100%. I mean, it's obviously. I mean, it must have been a great show for all the people watching, which is good to see. Yeah, it obviously would have been nice to be a part of it, but that it's I think through the years you learn that it can't always fall your way. I've had moments like this in the past, and it won't be the last time it happens. Where things don't happen, whether it's within your control, out with your control. Yeah, really unfortunate, as I was looking forward to getting stuck in, and for it to end so early was obviously not ideal. But yeah, I'm pretty at peace with myself with it. Obviously it'll sting tonight, but we'll regroup, we'll come back stronger, and come back swinging in the next time.
And we all look forward to seeing you coming back fighting. Back to you, Tom.
Thank you very much, Hayden. Lucas Blakely summarising his thoughts and feelings on that race perfectly. And if there's anyone who can bounce back and just brush that off, that is a man over there. And a very dejected driver next to him is there, Wilson Hughes. But listen, I will say this. It has been chaotic to get this race underway, and that's one heck of an understatement. So I feel like it's only going to improve. This is a starting point, and especially for someone like Lucas.
Oh, absolutely. The season is long, and this is just the first race. There's so much more to come. We have no idea who's going to jump out. We've already seen some standout drives from the drivers that we have right now, but anything can happen, and it always does in F1 esports. The championship is going to change hands multiple times, probably, over the course of the season. So we've just got to look forward to it, really.
I was really impressed, actually, with his answer. That you can tell he's won a world championship because very mature. Of course, he had most of the race for that to settle in because it happened right at the beginning. But that kind of mentality, knowing it's a long championship, knowing that it's a team effort as well, very impressed by that. So I think Lucas, he's ready to go again.
I love that. Right. Hayden Gullis. He's been the kind of, who has he been like? Ted Kravitz, that's been wandering around, and he's ready to do a podium interview right now. Hayden, take it away.
If I'm the Ted Kravitz, next time I'm going to need my shorts and sandals, so I'll make sure I bring them. I'm joined now by Nicolas Longuet on the podium, P3, started in P5, a solid result, especially after the contact, so a great comeback from yourself.
Yeah, I mean, that lap really changed my whole race. I mean, I wasn't expecting to pit as early as I did. I think it was lap 9, and since then it was constant tire pressure, tire saving mode. Yeah, so I think from what I remember, I had Jed in front and I had to react, or Alfie, sorry, and we just went 3 wide into turn 1 and he hit my back, and I'm not sure what happened. I need to re-see the footage on both onboards. But then I dropped all the way down to P10, and it really made my race way more difficult, especially on the second stint. And I think that was one of my best second stints I've ever done in this game. I mean, I had no mistakes, saved the tires perfectly, and managed to save a P3.
How bad was the damage to the front wing? Because I saw, unlike maybe other drivers, you were able to stay out for a little bit longer, extend the stint as much as you possibly could, and also get away with not losing loads of position.
Well, the front wing does quite a bit of. It really affects the damage on the car, especially the performance in the corners. You lose a lot of speed, and it's just a domino effect because you're just sitting there having to use all your battery to try and keep up, but then you just can't. But luckily, I didn't get damage from that contact, so I got away unscathed in a sense. But yeah, it was a recovery drive.
Well, congratulations on P3. You also take home some prize money, so I'm sure you're excited to be claiming that. I'll let you send you back, and I'll bring over Jarno Opmeer, if you could come and join me over here. P2, we spoke at the start of the show, and I asked you, how are you going to come from P10 up into P2, and you came in fighting. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it was as good of a race as I could hope for, to be honest. As I said before, I think the furthest away someone has won from on this track is P5. So I knew it was going to be very, very hard. Took a lot of risk with strategy. Made some good moves in the opening lap, which moved me up to P7. And yeah, it was kind of a bit of a patience game. Last few laps, I had to make sure to keep Nico in my DRS to kind of fend myself from Freddie and Barry, who were coming through on much fresher tires. So yeah, it was frustrating that I couldn't fight for the win. Because Thomas was already 3.8 seconds in the lead. And yeah, I just aimed for the maximum, which was P2 today. So.
Well, I think it was a fantastic result, a great drive, and obviously the pit stop to go earlier than the others to get yourself track position. And obviously it's going to hinder you because later on everybody's going to have fresher tyres. But how was it to fend off really everybody who was charging from behind?
Yeah, to be fair, it wasn't too bad, to be honest, because, of course, I had to go through Lucas and Nicolas and Jed Norgrove first. And I felt like others lost a little bit of time overtaking them, probably, which helped a lot. But yeah, it was a risky strategy, but at the same time, I always feel like there's not really any safe strategy in F1 esports. Barry did the opposite and came through the field as well. Nicolas drove an insane race after spinning and then getting back up to P3 somehow. So yeah, there's no safe strategy, as we saw today. Every strategy can fail if you don't play the right cards, and we played the right ones today. So.
Thank you very much, Jarno. Great performance, P2, and enjoy your prize money. Thomas Ronhaar. Everybody, let's give a round of applause for our race winner, Thomas. We spoke previously. You've now managed to calm down a little bit after the elation of the race win. How's it now feeling? How's it sinking in for you?
Yeah, to win in front of all of you, and in the LAN event as well, it's just unbelievable. And yeah, perfectly executed race by everybody involved. I want to thank you so much. Also want to thank you, my family and all my friends, my mates who pushed me to be a positive man and just stay with myself. And yeah, super happy.
We spoke after the quali show. You were leading the championship then. You're still leading the championship now. There's a long way left to go, but do you feel like this year is your year?
I mean, I'm not gonna, spoil anything or jinx anything, but it's looking promising at the moment. The pace looked there at right at the start when we started practicing many months ago. Brendan has been very fast at home as well, so if he gets a bit more lucky, I'm sure he'll be up there as well for the rest of the season. But yeah, we just gotta keep pushing, do what we do best, and let's see what happens throughout the season.
New to this season, we have an event champion. You've won yourself $5,000. What are you going to spend the money on?
I think tonight is going to be, a very fun night with all the drivers going to be there as well. So going to be drinking a few. It's going to be. I'll still have to think about what I'm going to, do with it. But it's nice to have it, and I'll probably let you know as well what I'm going to do with it.
I look forward to finding out. I'm going to let you go and join the other two for the podium picture. Once again, Thomas, fantastic performance. Congratulations on the race win. Tom, we have our first winner.
And what a winner he is. Love it. His third win in F1 sim racing. And I tell you what, they say that third's the best, because I tell you what, he's proved everyone what he's really capable of. Pace is there, got the experience, got to keep pushing, and I'm sure he's going to do that, Matt. But great to hear from all of the drivers. Jarno finished second last year in Bahrain, does it exactly the same again. And Nicolas Longuet, a podium for him. He got 2 last year. He got a win in Japan. What do you make of that front three? That's your kind of champion possibly there, Steph.
I know. Do you know what? I'm hesitant to mention it. We know there's been a hot rivalry between Jarno Wotmir and Thomas Ronhart in league racing, and I'm excited to see how that one's going to play out in F1 sim racing. So that's one to look out for the rest of the season. But great race, great start to the championship. I'm excited for what's to come.
They're just lining up to get a photo taken. Matt, what do you make of it all? I mean, this is a guy, Thomas Ronhart, that retired. He's only had one retiring moment in his F1 sim racing career. That was Bahrain, and he's put that right. It's only up from here now for him.
It certainly is. It's a great way to start. It'll give him momentum. He'll feel really confident. I think there are a few other drivers. Longuet, I'm absolutely bamboozled that he didn't get any damage at the start there, but he managed to bring his way all the way back up to P3, so he's got a lot of pace. Just like he said coming into this, that he's very confident, and to secure a third place is massively important for him. But yeah, I can't wait to see how this whole championship unfolds, because we've got so many storylines, and we love a storyline.
We do love a storyline. I just was giggling to myself when we first caught up with Nicolas Longuet, and as soon as he arrived here in Sweden, people are asking, what's your setup? And he famously answered us by going, bro, I've just got here, chill out. That man is supremely confident. We need to talk about a DHL fastest lap time and find out who took that in the race, and whether, if they finish in the top 10, they will get a point. It isn't. It's Wilson Hughes, so no extra point going there. If he had finished in the top 10, he would have got a point. But hey, that is positive to start with. He knows he's got the pace, Wilson Hughes. It just didn't go his way in qualifying, but his first time out, he can only improve on that, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fastest lap. A lot of the time, the teams just cover off and make sure no other team get the fastest lap. So Wilson Hughes, of course, was a little bit out of the running for that, so went and got that, which is obviously a nice little small consolation prize, but not what he wants to be getting, especially if McLaren Shadow want to compete and try and win the team's championship. They're going to need both drivers to be firing on all cylinders. We've seen in the past a few times where drivers, for example, Ferrari, we had David Tanitsa, who was getting loads of points, but the other driver wasn't bringing in as many. That's what McLaren Shadow need to make sure, that both of them are scoring points pretty much every event.
Well, they're consistent at the moment with 0 points each. However,
Ouch.
I know, listen, but things will change. Hayden is with Wilson Hughes, a top driver. What does he make of the day, Hayden?
What a way to throw over. Just make it sound even worse. I'm joined now with Wilson. Unfortunately, maybe not the race and not the first event you want to go, but there is still a long way left to go in the season. You take home the fastest lap of the race. That's got to be at least a small consolation prize.
Yeah, well, I'd much rather a top 10 finish, but I think we can still take positives from this event. Obviously, the results don't show that, but the race pace looked extremely promising in that race, and the whole event we've looked pretty quick. It's just not really pieced together.
I noticed there was a lap 1 collision with the Aston Martin of Fabrizio Donoso that lost a little bit of damage on the front wing. How did that come about for yourself?
Yeah, so it was actually the AlphaTauri. We went into the back of him at turn 1, and Fabrizio got damage as well as a consequence. And yeah, it was just, we were braking early for turn 1, but clearly Tom Manley decided to brake a little bit earlier, and it just didn't go our way. We went into the back and the front wing was gone.
As a rookie, you've got the worst out of the way. Not the best first event, but I'm sure plenty to go to bring yourself back up over the rest of the season. How do you mentally get yourself ready for the next event to show, do you know what, I've got this pace and I can show it?
Yeah, it's frustrating. Obviously, this event I think could have went a lot better, obviously. We had a lot more in the tank, but I think we should use this as a positive momentum. We clearly saw what we had in that race. It just didn't go together, as I said. So, yeah, we'll see. We've got a long season ahead of us. A lot can happen, as seen in that race. So, yeah.
Thank you very much, Wilson. I wish you better fortunes in event 2. Tom, back to you.
Thank you, Hayden, and thank you to Wilson. Not easy to be interviewed after a day hasn't gone your way, but if any 2 drivers can build it back, I know those guys have got it in the bag. Let's have a look at the drivers' standings as we finish our first race of the 2023 season. And we know for a fact he finished on pole and got the race win, so I can already know that Thomas Ronhaar will have a whopping 26 points. Matt was just good, thank you. That's what I do. So we know he's off to a fantastic start. And as we have mentioned several times, it is just the first race. So many more events to come. And it's been an enjoyable experience. It's been so good to be back in LAN, you'd say, Matt, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Rather than seeing them on a screen or, hey, how are you doing? And then you get a delay. We're here. They're here. We get to see all the pure reactions. I feel a little bit harsh on some drivers when they've just had a bad qualifying and then Hayden's there with his microphone. But look, it's part of the game, and we're here to see every emotion.
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We are going to wrap things up. It's been an absolute delight to welcome you guys here to DreamHack Winter. Jönköping in Sweden. F1 Sim Racing World Championship is back. Make sure you follow us on all of the socials to stay up to date. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to all the drivers, and we will catch you next time for more action.